Yeah, I'm back this morning. And I'm still ranting, guys. I've had some coffee and just like really frustrated this morning. And usually don't do my lives until later in the afternoon, but I've been started coming on at 5 o'clock this morning. And I'm still ranting. Still ranting. Oh, because I'm just we're going to talk about how much I trust the government, guys. I don't know about you, but I don't trust the government for nothing. They tell me the skies are cloudy out right now, I wouldn't believe it. They told me it was sunny, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe nothing that they say. Nothing. It's all about power and money in this country. And if you live by the rules and you support and you pay your taxes and you do what you're told, you might survive. You might be able to live and worry about that bad relationship or that bill that you got to pay this morning or tomorrow morning or whenever it is, the first of the month. Good morning, Royce. Yeah, I'm still ranting this morning. I'm in a ranting mood. And not too happy about all this manipulation that goes on in the world. And that's the way I call it, manipulation. It's always been about the rich against the poor. And the rich people will do anything to hold on to their power and to their money. And it doesn't matter. They'll kill you for it. Or they'll put you and bury you under the prison. And this goes back for a long time. Even in the Civil War, we'll talk about that for a minute. North versus the South, the big American Civil War. And what was it about? 95% of the people that were in the South didn't even own a slave. But how many of them died? How many people in the North didn't own a slave, but they died, you know? Turning rich people against poor people. But they always get some kind of other issue in there involved that would make poor people go die and give themselves up. So, you know, it's always been about the rich people versus when's the last time we had a war in this country that poor people weren't sacrificed to go die, and they call it dying for your country and serving. And this is a Memorial Day, so this is kind of a fitting thing for it. And how many people that we suffer or that we mourn for, and that has been, if they didn't get killed, how many of them got, and this is nothing against about their heroism or the things that they sacrificed for, but why? That's the question I'm asking this morning. Why? I don't trust the government. 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 I don't trust the government for nothing. Okay? Nothing. They say one thing, you could almost automatically assume that it's about some rich man trying to keep his riches and his power. So that's what I'm ranting about this morning. How many of us have died fighting a rich man's war? And I'm patriotic just as much as the next person, and you know, but I don't like this ideal of sending our young men and women to die in some foreign soil for some cause that they've made up, that we have not understood exactly what's going on. And like I said, going back to the Civil War, 95% of the people in the South, do you think they owned cotton fields or owned slaves? And I want the black people to listen to this too. I'm not racist. How many people in the North? How many died? Think about it. How many died? How many died in our wars? And yeah, I like peace and everything like that. And I believe there's a time for every fight, you know. Somebody comes over and if they're trying to, you know, hurt us or whatever, heck yeah, pick up your guns. Be like the revolutionaries. We fight for freedom. What are we doing for freedom? Our freedom. And I just was talking to my dad this morning. He served over in Vietnam and Korea. And he said if he had to do it all over again, he just told me, you know, he said the best thing you could do when you was over and fighting those wars is try to survive. Try to live at whatever cost. And my dad's proud of his service, as well all our military people should be. But what was we really fighting for? There's always been some kind of bullshit that the rich, powerful people in this country, and that's why I stand for Trump. That's the reason I stand for Trump, and that's why I will always stand for Trump. They have went after this man, Democrats and Republicans alike. Now listen to how Trump talks about our own Mitch McConnell here in the state of Kentucky. You don't think that's a little weasel? Mitch McConnell's a weasel. He'll never get another vote of mine. Of course, he's probably so damn old now, it don't matter, but... And I believe Trump, when I heard him the other day, said, you know, he knows who the swamp is, and what they do, and this what do they call it? This military war industrial complexes, or whatever you want to call it. People that make all these damn weapons. Now I'm good. I'm okay for making weapons. I'm all okay for a strong military. I believe it's necessary for our freedom. But now I'm listening to this damn thing about this budget thing, right? What is the Republicans trying? I'm a Republican, but what is these Republican politicians? What do they go after when they're trying to balance the budget? Are they cutting aid off to some of these other countries first before they worry about cutting the aid off to our own citizens and our own people? How many more other things could they be cutting that needs to be cut before they worry about trying to cut the little pissy ass pennies that our poor people get, the ones that are fighting their wars, the ones that are, look at the military. Do you think big rich people are, their sons and daughters are enlisted people? No, they got the cushy officer jobs, right? And when it comes down to the real fighting, it's the poor people, white and black, that are out there. And they're the ones dying. They're the ones getting mentally damaged. PTSD. And all this other bullshit that they put on our people. So yeah, I'm for Trump. Because he's trying to keep us out of these bullshit wars. Strong stand for the military. Yes, definitely. But strong for our national security and our national interests, not every damn buddy else in the damn world that don't give a rat's ass about us, and they're showing it. Every time, if we don't give them money, do you think that's sort of like having a woman or man in a relationship with the other just for their money, or having a friend just for their money, and when their money runs out, how much of a friend are they, really? How many of our men suffered on the shores of Normandy in France, in World War II, in Korea, in Vietnam, in Iraq, and Afghanistan, and all these wars, you know? I don't trust government. I don't trust the people that are in government. I don't trust none of their damn laws. And it's pathetic. And you can go all the way back. You can go back to Waco. You can go back to Ruby Ridge. You can go back to anything that the government has ever been involved in. These people don't care about you. Okay? I don't have to tell you that. You should know that just by that's the reason I don't watch TV. I don't want to watch the news. I don't want to watch their bullshit and how they try to convince me otherwise by their narrative and their manipulation. And if you trust government, well, I think you're a fool. I think you're a fool the whole way through, because you're just falling into what they want you to believe. And yeah, I'll fly the American flag. I'm proud of the American flag. Yeah, I stand for the national anthem. I do all those things because I do believe in our concept of our Constitution, the contract between the people that gives the power to the government to protect us. And what are they doing to protect us? The government's coming after your guns. Little by little, inch by inch, they're restricting your rights. That was a contract made between the people. This was our guarantees. And what are they doing to protect us? You got people going into daggone schools and shooting kids, innocent kids. Never heard of no bullshit like that before in our lives until here recently in the last 20, 30 years. What's going on? It's the manipulation. It's the separation. It's turning people away, against each other. As long as the poor people are fighting each other, they can slide right in and do all kinds of bullshit to erode your rights even more. So this is Memorial Day weekend. And I'm going to have my say. They probably cut me off. But whatever. At least I'm trying. Good morning. So, anybody that, wants me to trust the government, don't try to do that. There's only one guy I trust right now. And that's Donald Trump. I'll vote for him, as they said, as I've heard some of my ancestors that are passed on, some of them still living. But I'll go to the poll, and I'll vote if I have to crawl. And I'll vote for Donald Trump. And look how much they've attacked him. They're scared to death of him. Why? Because they're scared to death of us. And it goes back to the so-called insurrection. Bullshit. If you're going to have an insurrection, don't you think you'd show up with guns? How can you have an insurrection if you ain't got no chance of winning? It don't make sense. It's an improper term. It's an improper... and yet they let people in Seattle and Portland go in and burn down stores and take whatever they want and ransack, and then they don't even try to stop it. They let it go on and on and on. Take over city blocks. Saying keywords and it's giving me pauses. Are you sure you want to say that? Yeah, well, whatever. I can't even find my other lighter. This lighter went out. I've been got enough of it to smoke a cigarette. But that's where I'm at today. It's about poor people versus rich people. And the rich people, do you think their sons, when we go to all these wars, how many rich people actually go to war? They don't go to war. They send you and me. They send us, the ones that ain't got, our lives are expendable because our lives are meaningless to them. And they're willing to sacrifice our lives for their wealth and their power. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm just telling you what it is. I'm going to tell you the narrative. And so they say they don't, look how many charges and how many things they've tried to throw up at Trump. They're doing everything in their power to keep the man from even coming close to that White House again, because he's done told them. If I get back in there, I know now that I didn't know the first time. He knows who the players are. He knows where the power structure is. He knows the machine. Yeah, if he gets back in, there will be a revolution in this country, and I'm going to be right there. Like I said, I'll crawl to the polls to vote for him if I have to. Getting us into stupid-ass wars and killing our people left and right. Shedding blood, American blood, in foreign soils for people that don't give a shit about us. Why? So these people can keep whatever damn powers they can sell their damn war machine. And now we're talking about oil, and one of the other things was, blood for oil, and one of the things they got on Bush about, fighting wars for oil. Well, we got enough oil here, and why ain't they drilling it? We don't have to fight wars for it. But no, they don't want us. Just like they attack coal. I mean, some of these things I get. There's a better way. But to watch the manipulation, what they did to our pharmaceutical companies, created these pharmaceutical companies, synthetic drugs that kill people like Oxycontins. Yeah. And then you got preachers, that, like I said earlier, who's going to preach against smoking a joint or something. Why aren't they preaching against the prescription drugs that are filling people with poison? Yeah. Because they've been, most of them's been manipulated as well. And the truth, when you really seek the truth, you will find it. And you got to open your eyes. And, I just look how many prisons that we have, and look how many people. And yeah, there's some bad people, and they should be. Good morning again, Brenda. How was your breakfast? You have the biscuits and gravy. Good morning, Elaine and Whitley and Royce. And how many of these people? I mean, just look at our food. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Look at our food. Look at what we eat and we put on our tables. I live right across, where my parents live, where I'm at right now. There's not. Right now, this farm, it's hundreds of acres out there. And as of this moment, I can go out there and take you a picture, and there's not one blade of anything coming up. But I guarantee you in about 3 weeks, this stuff is probably, in 4 weeks, this stuff's going to be about waist high. Okay? Waist high. What kind of, and they don't ever plow the field. Now, I don't know if you guys have been around farmland too much. But this farmland, my parents have been at this place right here for probably 15, 18 years or something at this location that they bought from the other location where we had 30-something acres here. It was only about 5 acres here. But across the road, there's farms, several hundred acres of farmland. Now, they either plant corn or they either plant soybeans, one or the other. And as far as I can remember, that field has never, ever been dissed or it's never been plowed. But yet they have farms there every year and grow stuff. And this stuff here, I remember last year I planted a small garden out here, probably about 3 weeks to 4 weeks before they did. Now my corn only got up, it was only probably about a foot high in that month's time. And then they planted, and I think it was like within just 2 or 3 weeks, their corn was already twice as big as mine. I mean, and they didn't plow or nothing. They come in with these machines and they spray something down, and then they come back with the machine that puts it in the ground, and it's supposed to be some kind of special seed, and these seeds are genetically modified to do what they do. And the farmers can't, they got to plant all the seeds. They can't use like the seeds they get this year. They won't be able to use them next year. They have to buy more seeds. They can't use the same seeds. And they even got some of this stuff they genetically modified to where it won't seed. You can't use the seeds. They've modified everything genetically to where you're dependent upon them. And you're talking about big corporations that are so genetically modified, and they grow at such a rate, and it's all controlled by big corporations. If something happened, we wouldn't have a seed bank because it's all in vaults that's genetically modified, and these things won't reseed. You can't. They got them to where they won't reseed. I mean, anything that you would try to get, like you would normally do, like if you had corn, you could get the corn off the cob, and dry it out, and you could be able to plant that corn next year. Not with this corn. It won't grow plants. It's only good for that year. And another example is like some of these chicken farms. You go to the store and you buy chicken from the grocery store. Do you know that these chickens, from the time they hatch from an egg to the time they get to the slaughterhouse, when they take them in to slaughter those chickens, do you know how old those chickens are? Now, most of y'all raised chickens before, right? You've had little chickens, little diddles raised. How long do you think it is before you can put them in the frying pan? I'll tell you how old these chickens are. I know, because in my lifetime of doing things and going places and trying everything, I caught some chickens once for one of these companies, Tyson Foods. 38 days from the time they hatch to the egg to the time they get processed at the chicken plant and get bagged up and sent to your grocery store. These chickens are 38 days. Now, I've caught these 38-day chickens, and they try to catch them, and they try to do them on 38 days. If you wait till 41 days or 42 days, only 3 or 4 days later, if they're late getting these chickens are mad. I mean, they grow so fast, genetically pumped full of crap. In 41 days, when you're out there catching these chickens in the chicken houses, I'm telling you, it's the truth. These chickens, only 3 or 4 days later, have pretty much lost their daggone mind. And you're catching these chickens, and all the same time that you're catching them, they're attacking you, I mean, violently. And I remember I had to wrap up my wrists with tape and arms and bandages and my hands so that these chickens wouldn't attack me and draw blood. A 38-day chicken, you don't have that problem. But 3 days late, and they tell you going in, how old, and so going in what to expect. And we would catch, I was trying to remember, there was like, I think they keep like 10,000 chickens in one chicken house. 10 to 30, they're different sizes, but we'd go in and we'd catch 10,000 chickens in a night. Let me tell you, catching a few chickens is one thing, but when you're catching 10,000 chickens, but they pump them and so we buy this stuff. Everything we buy at the grocery store is so genetically modified. And so, and this is supposed to be approved for us, and we're eating this stuff. And so we wonder why our health is, and some of us are so bad. It's because we're eating this crap and it's getting into us. And we wonder about why certain people have violent tendencies sometimes. And that's because the government has fed you this stuff. So some people will lose their balance of what what is sane. I mean, how could you eat this stuff and not be affected by it? I mean, common sense would tell you that if you ate something that's, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. I can't say it enough. I just don't trust the government. I don't trust nothing they say. I don't trust it in any form, fashion, or anything. I don't trust them because I've seen enough. I explained this morning earlier on my other live broadcast how I was taking the white pellets from Louisville. Some look like mothballs, tractor trailer loads of it, taking it to the ethanol plants up in Iowa and Minnesota. I told you guys, the ones that were listening. And I found out what they were using it for. They was coloring the black smoke in the production of ethanol. They was coloring it. These white pellets, all they were was nothing but daggone smoke coloring. And they're coloring the smoke from black to white so that you wouldn't think that it was bad for you. It wasn't hurting the environment. It's a gospel honest truth. So whenever you look over there and you see white smoke, you don't think much about it. But if you were driving down the road and you seen black smoke, oh, everybody knows black smoke is bad, right? But if it's white smoke, it must be clean. No, it's just colored. Everything's an illusion. A big, fat illusion. Everything around, and it starts making you question when you start learning these things. Starts making you question everything that's around you and how much of it is just an illusion. It's fake. And it's just like the water we drink. And they put chlorine and stuff in this water, and they tell you it's good for you. Okay, let's have a debate about that, maybe if you want to sometime. Go ahead, believe what you want to believe. I don't drink tap water. I don't even like drinking bottled water because, well, yeah, I mean, most of us know, I mean, it's right, Brad. I mean, I know when I was growing up as a kid, we all burnt coal, right? You get up on a cool winter morning, everybody be having their coal stoves, everybody getting up, and you always know when somebody's getting up, you could see the smoke coming out of the stovepipes and the chimneys, and the roosters were crowing, and you could walk outside and you could smell that coal smoke, right? I'm sort of got addicted to it. I'd like to wake up one morning and just smell the coal smoke. But but it's a memory in my head. We won't hardly get that no more. But and now they're making it outlawing. They're outlawing like things with coal and calling it carbon. Okay, It's one thing. How many houses would it take burning coal to heat their house? I mean, we're all spoiled on electric and gas now and propane, what have you. That's all right. But you know what? Now I hear that they're starting to outlaw propane gas. Okay. Now what? How many of y'all burn propane for heat? And then if you are using electric for heat, where's the electric coming from? You think it's coming from solar or wind? Is it coming from hydrogen, or I mean, whatever they call it, nuclear stuff? Yeah, I know, right? And I ain't saying, I mean, we did what we had to back then. That's how we survived, right? I mean, we burnt coal. That was our survival. But some of this stuff here, what they're doing it on massive things, and they're just doing it to trick you. And that was my point. They're making an illusion. There was no illusion about it when we burnt coal to keep warm. We all knew what we had to do to keep warm, right? We burnt wood or coal. Most of us burnt coal. I'm not sure why we wasn't burning wood more. But the ideal is how many things around us are fake, you know? It's just like what I was talking about earlier this morning. You buy something, it says made in USA. No, like General Electric, and I was bringing the refrigerators from the Mexican border at Laredo. I mean, not Laredo, El Paso, bringing them up to Louisville, and I'd bring the refrigerators in, and that's where they put the labels on there, okay? They put the labels on in there. Made in America. Made in the USA. General Electric. It wasn't made there. It's made in Mexico. It's General Electric plant they put down there. And they was shipping them here and then just putting the labels on and acting like they was being manufactured there. Illusion. Another illusion. And how many of the illusions that do we live? We send people to war. We send our young boys, our young men and women to wars to get maimed and killed. For what? I mean, they're thinking they're doing the right thing as heroes and serving their country and dying for their country. No, they're not. I'm sorry to bust your bubble on this, but no, they're not. It's an illusion. How does going to Afghanistan or Iraq or Korea or Vietnam defending your country? From what? Like, you don't think they're going to come here, do you? Let them come. Let them fight. Let them come here and see what they get. All right, Brenda. Have a good day, baby girl. But people need to wake up. They need to stop trusting the crazy-ass politicians. And do they really give us a choice when it comes to these elections? They say it's free elections. Is it really? You better lay down now. Now. I get mean with my dog sometimes. And lay down, Missy, now. And no, it's because there's something there that some rich man wants to control the power of, and he's willing to send American poor boys and girls, black and white or Hispanic or whatever you are, it doesn't matter to them. You're just a pawn, okay? Just a pawn. Your life is expendable to them. And I think that's why they fear Donald Trump so much. So, anyway, I'm going to break for a little bit. I got to go, I'm going to go eat some breakfast and grab some more coffee. And I'm probably going to rant all day on this. I'm going to be on and off. So, Anyway, have a good morning, and we'll catch you in a bit.